Hello and welcome to this webinar talk where I discuss how you can easily build your business resilience, even in a small business where resources and time is very tight. There is still a lot you can do to build resilience that will benefit you over time. The webinar lasts for about 10 minutes. If you want to spend a little more time looking at the information in a particular slide, just hit pause and restart when ready. We are becoming more and more aware nowadays about the need to be resilient. In our own lives, it helps us to successfully cope with stress and adversity, being able to bounce back when something bad happens. But the importance of resilience is now recognised in both the wider community and in business. If you have a resilient business, then you are more prepared for the surprises and shocks that could affect your business. When unpleasant surprises occur, you are more able to bounce back and keep your business operating successfully.
This webinar is particularly aimed at small and micro businesses. Larger organisations will often have individuals specifically tasked with improving resilience in areas such as business continuity and information security. But small organisations will probably not be able to do this and will have to do the job as one of the numerous things that need to be regularly done. Nevertheless, there are still lots of things you can do which will build your resilience over time. And in this webinar, I will briefly introduce some of the concepts and techniques that you can use. How can you make your business more resilient? Think about what could be coming up in the future and what will have the most impact and disruption on your business. Think about how long you could cope before severe problems started to occur. Resilience is not just about having a range of specialist techniques such as business continuity, although this helps, but it is about having the ability to respond quickly when things do go wrong. The skills and capabilities you already have in your business will be key in helping you. What are these capabilities? You need to be confident in what you are doing and be flexible enough to be able to change what you're doing quickly. And don't rely on a single person to be responsible for a particular activity. Everyone should feel confident that they will know what to do in a given situation. Of course, you can never foresee everything that may happen, and you will not be able to have a complete answer to everything that could happen. But you may be able to select tools and techniques that will help you out. To be resilient needs a flexible mindset, which means no, we always do it this way type of thinking. It needs people who are always willing to learn and have the time to do this learning, and are allowed to apply this learning when needed. Does everyone have a good understanding of how the organisation works? How happy are your staff to move out of their comfort zone? How well do you communicate in your organisation? Are you willing to be challenged and take advice? For instance, when mistakes happen, and they will, how do you respond? Are people blamed, or are you willing to learn from these mistakes? There is a regular cycle that you need to put in place to build and improve resilience. Key is good leadership, focusing on the capabilities you need for success. Then you need to develop your plans, build them, put them into practice, and finally, deliver them, continually checking that they actually work as planned and updating them regularly. Short webinar, I'm going to focus primarily on the basic objectives you need to think about. These are, firstly, what are the key products and services that you need to be successful at? Then, what activities and resources do you need to deliver them? Then, understand what could disrupt your business and when. You should then be in a position to identify mitigations that will help you keep going during any periods of disruption. Over the next few slides, I will set out each step in a bit more detail. What are the steps that can help you become more resilient? Here are 4 steps that you can do. Firstly, make sure you fully understand how your business operates, what its supply chains are, and who your customers and suppliers are. At this point, many of you will be saying that you already know this, or your business wouldn't have been successful. Well, that is good, because you're already a good way down the path at building resilience. To help you, if you don't already use them, try using business techniques such as a SWOT or a stakeholder analysis, shown on the slide here.
The next stage is to try and identify the sorts of issues that could arise which impact your business. You probably already do this and have identified a lot of issues that regularly occur that you need to deal with. These could be suppliers who don't deliver on time, or customers who take an age before they pay your invoice, or problems with finance or resourcing. At regular points in your business cycle, you will encounter these problems. But there are other potential problems that are more uncertain. They may not happen very often or may never happen, but when they do, they cause a big impact on your business. The current pandemic is a good example, but it could also be a power cut that lasts for a few days, or a ransomware attack on your IT system, or just plain old bad British weather. Most of the incidents here are not too difficult to identify, but how likely are they, and have you identified everything? Unfortunately, identifying everything that could potentially occur and impact your business is difficult to do in detail, even for large organisations, and it's extremely difficult for everyone else. So the approach you can take is to focus on the consequences of these impacts, which will be the same for lots of different incidents. As you can see here, different types of incidents will nevertheless still end up with the same problems. In all of the three scenarios here, you would be struggling to have all your staff available for work. So instead of worrying about every possible incident that could occur, think about the consequences that will be common to many incidents, as is shown here. You may not be able to get your key products from a supplier, or may not be able to access the office, or even if you can, it isn't functioning properly.
Now for step 3. With your knowledge of how your business works, you should be able to decide how any of these incidents could directly impact on your business, and how you can keep things going during the disruption that follows. To give an example, if you can't use your main business premises for a day, how much of a problem would this really be? If you had to postpone an important product delivery for a day or two, how would your customer react? If they have a business that depends on just-in-time delivery from you, then even a single failure to deliver on time to them could have a big impact on your business. You should look to identify which are the impacts that cause most disruption and harm to your business. These are the ones that you need to focus on most to develop plans to deal with these potential consequences. You can develop a potential toolkit of options to be used as and when necessary.
Having a toolkit of approaches recognises that there is no one-size-fits-all solution, and that you will need to mix and match your response that seems most appropriate at the time. The important thing is that you will have something in place and you are confident it will work, even though you hope you'll never have to use it. The toolkit approach allows you to adopt your current mitigations flexibly when circumstances change or when something unexpected happens, because you can never plan for everything. For example, one of the main workarounds for closure of your business premises could be to develop a capability to work from home. And when the recent pandemic arose, you would have had a ready solution that you could apply without too much tweaking.
So, no one approach is best, and you'll need to adopt different approaches for different timescales, depending on how long your business can cope for. There are different things you can do. You may need to purchase some things up front so that it is already in place in case something goes wrong. The ability to work from home is a good example for this, but you could also purchase IT up front and consumable spares so that you've built up a stockpile. You could choose to wait to implement something until disruption is approaching, such as renting temporary office space if your current space is unavailable. But if you are going to wait to implement measures when something happens, you will need to know that the solution works and is available. Or you could be even more flexible and wait until the disruption has occurred and consider your approach at this point. If your business will take a hit immediately something happens, then deciding on the detail once it has happened is probably not a good idea. Whereas if you have a couple of weeks before you would encounter problems, This gives you a little bit more time to identify the most cost-effective approach. But for all approaches, you will need to plan beforehand. Once you have started to develop an approach, plan how to do it, work out who needs to be involved and when, and what specialist techniques, such as business continuity or cybersecurity, you may need to call upon. Make sure everyone knows what they need to do and work out how they will do it when an incident occurs. Building resilience isn't something you can do in a day. In reality, you need a range of approaches. They need to be flexible, and everyone needs to know what they are, and be confident at applying them when the time comes. It is always good to have a plan in place to deal with any incident, even something as simple as who to call and when. To achieve your goals, you need to be building in resilience every day, for example by empowering your staff so they know what their role is and are confident and can work independently if necessary. Nor is it something that should ever stop. But there is a lot you can do today to start building resilience. Every small step may make a big difference. The key is to remember that you need to plan well, be flexible, and make sure everyone is involved in the journey and supported.